Hello, I am back, and today we are going to be doing some work again in the dungeon. It has really been driving me crazy how messy and disgusting this basement keeps getting, but I think I have finally figured out exactly what it is about it that drives me crazy. So now I'm going to be able to fix that even before we fix all of the things that we need to fix from all the water damage, such as the walls and putting in shelving and the flooring and all of that kind of stuff. I know what else it is about it that drives me crazy. So what I did over the last 3 weeks was just came down periodically. One day I spent about 30 minutes, another day I spent about an hour, and the day after that was about an hour and a half, and I was able to completely get this put back into shape, at least for now, the way that it should be. So I was really dreading even coming down here at all to work. So I really just had to break it up into smaller chunks to be able to get it done. So the day that I came down the first time was about an hour. So I set my timer for an hour and I told myself that I would not continue. And I just started kind of chipping away a little bit here and there, trying to get things put away that were still in bags and get some other items that did not belong into the other room where they're going to go for now until we can figure out that situation. The problem for me is that this basement is not just a basement, it's also my laundry room, it is my food storage room, and I also have one son that's still down here. His bedroom is separate, but he still has to walk through this area every day, so I really just wanted to get it back into working order. So I have started taking more time when I'm down here, even if I'm just looking for something for a recipe, taking a few minutes and looking at expiration dates. Now, some of the canned stuff doesn't really expire just because of the expiration date on the can, so some of it I'm okay keeping and other stuff I'm not. Tomato products, things like that, don't always last a ton of extra time past their date. But again, it's also just, for me, giving myself permission to throw things away if I'm not using them. I figured if they're that much past the expiration date, then I probably am not using them that often and I can just let it go. And also just getting things, again, just organized better and putting things into the packages that they belong in. I also wanted to take a moment to say if there is anyone here that has been affected by the hurricane, I hope that you and your family are doing okay and that your houses are still standing and that all of your loved ones are intact. I am truly sorry if you have been affected by that hurricane. It looks awful. I cannot even imagine what you're going through, but I just hope that you are okay. In a strange way, the hurricane kind of got me thinking again about preparedness. Now, we are nowhere near anywhere that a hurricane is likely to hit. Many years ago, we did have a tornado come through that devastated some surrounding towns. But I think our biggest risk for anything kind of weather related would most likely be snow related. So winter is coming up, obviously. So I do think it's always a great idea to have extra food storage in your house. I have definitely pared down way more than I used to have. I have also been working really hard to go through my stockpile that way that we are rotating everything. I've been coming up with a lot of different recipe ideas, which has been really fun to just go through the freezers and the fridge and the pantry and go through and just kind of make up new recipes that I hadn't thought of before. But I do think it's important to have extra food storage for any kind of emergency, weather related or otherwise, just to get you through at least a couple of weeks of, if you have to hunker down, just getting you through those first couple of weeks. So here's some of the things that I did throw away. They're way past their expiration date. And this was another bag that I cleared out. I had dehydrated some potatoes when I had first gotten into dehydrating, and I've never used them, so I just emptied out the jars. Now we're coming into this side of the basement right now. So if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that we redid our bathroom and the toilet was leaking. A couple of weeks after our bathroom was done, I was coming down into the basement and smelling urine. So I told my husband that something is not right down there, and he did not believe me at first. He didn't smell anything. So he said, oh, it's probably just an animal outside. A little bit of more time went on, and I kept telling him, like, no, something is not right. So he finally listened to me, and we realized that the toilet was leaking. Unfortunately, it is right above this area. Now, there was some stuff in the ceiling, like those drop ceiling type of things that collected most of it. And it really didn't get through that much. It was just the smell of it in the wood. But also a couple of times when we had flooding, we had to open the window that is behind the storage area to bring in a hose to suck out all the water. So just because of that, some of the inside of the buckets had gotten pretty dirty. So I wanted to take about 30 minutes this day and go through all these buckets, clean them all out, clean the cleaning solution outside of the bottles, and just kind of go through, see if there was anything in here that wasn't being used. I think the really great thing that made this a lot easier was having everything inside of these plastic buckets because they were super easy to keep clean. Before I even did this, everything was just on the shelves, and I can imagine that that would have been a horrendous nightmare if I had had to take down every bottle individually and go through it like that. I just think it makes it a lot easier. It also keeps my buying in control because now I only keep stocked what I have room for in that bucket for that certain cleaning item. And I've also been getting rid of a lot more cleaning items and just really paring it down. I'm just going through what I have right now and trying to figure out what I'm going to use after that. Just more natural cleaners. But some things I'll probably never get rid of, like the all-purpose cleaners, my Dawn dish spray, some things for the laundry, and some things for the bathroom. I'll probably continue to buy those. So one of you recently made a comment on one of my latest videos, just letting me know that I was doing a good job, and that really does mean a lot to me. Sometimes I look around the house and I look at the mess or things kind of getting out of order again, and I get really defeated and just feel like kind of a failure. But I have to remind myself what the house used to look like and what it looks like now, and that we are actually making a lot of improvement. It looks a lot better than it used to. Even this basement used to be a complete disaster, way worse than it was at the beginning of this video. But I think now that I'm more used to things being a little bit more tidy and organized and cleaner, when I see it starting to get like that, I start to panic, and I just never want it to get to how it used to look before. So I just have to remember to take the time when I can, even if it's only 15-20 minutes, and just come down and get things back into order. So my husband just told me that we are going to have to wait until most likely the spring to finish up the basement in my son's room, that, you know, the one that just moved out. We have to wait to make sure that no water comes in the spring. After the winter, things start to thaw. That's when we were getting a lot of the water in the basement last year. So now that I know that, I think what I might do is just go out and purchase some fairly inexpensive rugs to put down here, just to make it feel a little bit better. And the other thing that I noticed in the beginning, I was telling you, I never really clean down here, and it sounds really weird to say, like I'll come down and put things away. I do clean like the top of the washer and dryer just to make sure that it's not collecting a bunch of dust, and I do keep that area pretty tidy, but I never really come down and clean like it's part of the house. So the big thing with the upstairs is if it's messy, it's not a big deal. I can clean and get it right back in order, and it looks great. It's bright, it's airy, and most importantly, clean. So that's one of the things that I need to start doing in the basement more, is actually just treating it more like it's a part of the house and actually coming down, cleaning things with a rag and cleaning solution. I actually, later on in the video, the last day that I came down here before posting this, was to actually just dust everything, give everything a really good dust. Even if it's not 100% perfect, it's still a lot better than it was. I was able to sweep the floors, mop the floors, and just doing things like that really and truly improves how it looks and feels. And it makes it not as daunting to have to come down there. So I think I'm just going to run to the store and just pick up some pretty inexpensive rugs to lay down, just so it feels a little bit more comfortable down there. Once we know that there's no more water, I'm either going to paint or we're going to put down flooring again in the basement. We've done it in both the kids' rooms that were down here, but we've had to rip it all up because of the water damage. So I really don't want to invest the money if it's just going to get ruined. I want to make sure 100% that that water is not going to come back in. Otherwise, we have a much bigger problem that we have to worry about. So again, on this day, I only spent about 30 minutes. I really thought it was going to be a much bigger project than it was, but just taking a few minutes to go through, wipe out the buckets, throw some things away that I wasn't using, and just kind of tidy up and reorganize myself with what I actually had. And here's what it looked like when I was all done. Much better than it had been before, and now it's easier to keep tidy. Okay, I've got 2 bags full, completely full of clothes here that I had taken out of my son's closet. I'm going to go drop them off to a church that I see every day when I'm driving past it to pick him up from football, and I'm just going to drop them off there. And this is the final day that I came down to get things tidied up. My biggest thing is just seeing things thrown all over the floor. It drives me insane. So my focus on this day was to get things picked up off the floor again and really do a more of a deep clean down here. It's again something that I don't typically do. So just getting these things picked up and orderly, at least put into baskets or bins or something to contain everything, and then be able to wipe everything down made such a huge difference. And I really do feel so much better now that it's done. Another thing that I wanted to share is we are finally getting started with switching our bedrooms. I feel like I've been talking about it forever. I feel like I've been waiting forever for it to actually happen, but it is going to be kind of a bigger project. It's certainly not something that I could do on my own. I do have to wait for my husband and my kids to be able to help. So this week, I think we're going to be taking things from my son's room that we're going to be taking over and putting it all into the basement bedroom, which is my older son's room who just moved out. And that way he can stay down there for, we're thinking probably about a week, so we can actually do a really good deep clean on the bedroom that we're taking over. And we have that time. My husband works like a 9 to 5, so he's gone Monday through Friday. And then with football practice and everything, it's just a lot when he gets home from work. So he has a couple hours maybe at night and during the week, and then most of the time that he has is on the weekends. So we're planning to take everything out of his room, bring it into the basement. He can stay down there for the week. We're going to start cleaning that room and then putting all of our stuff into it, and then doing the same thing in our current bedroom, getting it all cleaned out and repainting and everything for my son to move into this bedroom. So I will be sharing what I can of that process. My husband does not want to be on camera, so anything involving him I will not be able to show, but I will be able to show you the process of when my kids and I are bringing the stuff down, getting the room redone, and then obviously when we're putting everything back into it. I am so excited to finally have a bigger bedroom, and it's not a huge bedroom by any means. It's still pretty small, but it is bigger than the one that we have currently. And the biggest thing that I am looking forward to is just having a little bit of a larger closet to be able to store our things a little bit more, a little bit better than they are, because right now everything is just shoved into our closet in our bedroom, and then we have like the hooks on the walls and the shelves and stuff that I am so over. I just want them gone. I don't want to have to look at a bunch of clothes anymore on my wall. So anyways, I will share that as soon as it starts happening. I will do my best. But back to the basement. This is a lot of our food storage. So I'm really just coming down and taking care of all the dust and everything that accumulates. I hate having anything on this black shelf where I can't open the drawers, so I'm going to really do my best not to store anything there. At the end, I do have a couple things there, but they were coming upstairs with me, so they did not stay there. And like I said earlier, I have really been trying to go through and use up a lot of the food that we have down here. I've been coming up with a lot of cool recipes to use these store canned foods and my own home canned foods. So it's been really fun to try to do that as well. I was thinking about doing a video about using up some of my pantry supplies or just using up things in the freezer, making different meals. So let me know if that would be something that you'd be interested in. Also, if you have any good recipes for using up a lot of pantry items, definitely leave them in the comments below. I'm always looking for new recipes to try out and use up some of my stock. So I was showing you earlier, I found a hot honey when I was at Aldi, and when we were on vacation, my husband was saying that he sometimes when he's at work, he'll go out to this place and get hot honey pizza. So I figured I would pick it up, and I have some pizza dough in the refrigerator, and I was thinking of trying that out If you have ever tried it, let me know. I never have, and I would have never thought to put like a hot honey on pizza, but he says it's delicious. So here I'm just cleaning up where the stairs are, basically behind that shelf there. Everything gets so dirty back there. So I have a curtain, like a shower curtain hanging up, and I know it looks terrible, but I do that so I don't have like as much dirt and dust and everything falling behind those shelves, just because they're really hard to get to. So that is the reason that that's there. And then I found an empty container that I didn't even realize was empty, but I'm taking that out because next to the stairs I have had this thing that I had in my kitchen, and I brought it down here a long time ago, like months and months ago, but I have left it sitting there because it had like artwork and things like that from the kids, and I really didn't know where I was going to put it. So it was a perfect way to, one, get rid of the extra bin by using it with all of the art supplies of like the things that my kids made. I didn't really have the capacity on this day to go through them all and figure out what we wanted to keep and get rid of. So I pretty much just put everything in there except for some of the things that I saw were definitely trash, and I was able to get rid of the entire thing. Another thing that I noticed that was really bothering me was just little piles everywhere. Little piles, little collections of things. Next to the washer, there was a little collection of sandals. There was a couple boxes here that had just been left. They were completely empty. They just were left sitting in the middle of the floor for some reason. And then things like the sandals that didn't belong there. It just gives me a chance to, again, clean up behind those areas. Dust, dog hair, everything like that accumulates, and if it's open space, it just makes it a lot easier to clean. Like right there, the sandals, those are from when we got back from vacation, and they've just been sitting there. And I was thinking about getting a different laundry bin, like with the maybe the 2 or 3 compartments, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do that right now. I do like, so what happened was we had bought a new one for the upstairs next to the bathroom. So I brought the other one down. I do kind of like having a couple different ones, only because I can separate like my husband's whites and things like that, or towels. I can put them into a separate container. It just makes sorting when I'm doing the laundry a little bit easier. But I'm not sure if I'm going to spend the money right now to buy a different one if I can just use those two, even though it doesn't look the greatest. So now I just wanted to come through and kind of tidy up again on the top of the washer and dryer, give them a quick wipe down. Things had gotten a little bit out of control up there, so I found an empty bin that I had taken out of the bathroom recently and just put some of the cloths and some of my mop heads on there. The other bin I have with the dryer balls and some tennis balls for bigger, bulkier items. And the scent beads, I've actually not bought them in a couple of years, but because I had bought in bulk so many times before that, I still have, I think, 2 bottles left after this one is finished. So I very, very rarely use them these days, but every once in a while, if I'm washing bedding or towels, I do like to throw them in. I also figured it would be a good time to clean out the dryer vent fully. Now I empty it after every single load that I do, but for some reason this dryer definitely tends to collect a lot more dust underneath than my old one used to, so I felt that it was important to go in there and do a really thorough deep clean on there. And I just picked that attachment up from Amazon. It's super easy to use, and I just keep it in the drawers underneath. So all I did next was run the vacuum through the whole area, and then I just took out my O-Cedar mop and a new mop head. I just used a regular, I think it's Ecolab floor cleaner to clean up the floors, and it was so dirty because I never, ever, ever think to just come down and wipe the floors or clean the floors. I don't know why. Like, I do vacuum a lot of the areas just because, again, dust and dog hair and things like that, spider webs, they do accumulate. So I'll take the little vacuum and go around those areas, but I never really come down and vacuum and mop the floors. So it felt really good to do that. I think I'm going to continue doing that up until I do get a couple of rugs to put down here. Again, especially with the colder weather coming, it's going to be winter. It gets pretty chilly down there. And I've bought my son slippers. He almost never wears them. Maybe during the winter he will, but he's always walking around just barefoot. So I think it'll be nice just to have a couple of rugs. And then even if water does come in, I'm just going to buy something pretty cheap, and that way if they do get ruined, then we can just throw them away and we're not spending a ton of money on it. So coming up next in the video, I'm going to show you, of course, what the basement looks like completed. And I just have to remind myself, and I want to say to you guys, I know it doesn't look perfect. I understand that. But I don't think our houses always have to look perfect. If you have an area in your house that is not exactly how you want it, just know that you can still come down and take a few minutes and try to keep it as neat and organized and clean as you possibly can, even if it's not like Pinterest ready or whatever. So it just makes a difference. I am just thankful that we have a place to call home and we have all of the things that we need. So I am truly thankful for all of that. I just have to remind myself of that sometimes and to be grateful for what we do have, even though sometimes I think it's easy to forget that. So here's what it looks like now. And then I'm also going to just show you really quickly what I ended up taking out for fall decorations. I got it down last year to about 2 bins, and I'm going to show you those in just a second once we finish up with the basement. But I found 2 bins that I pulled out, and I put out pretty much everything in those bins other than a couple of things that I will show you at the end what I got rid of, and I will show you really quickly what the upstairs looks like with the fall decorations. Okay, these are the things that I have left that I think I'm going to get rid of. This I've had for many years. It's definitely time to go. These the kids made when they were little. They were fun activity. I put them out every year, but I think I'm going to get rid of them this year. And this I'm undecided. I may or may not keep this. I put a couple of my other decorations that I had out in here. Oh, and then I think I'm undecided if I'm going to get rid of this as well. But I put out very little. I put one wreath up there, one over there. I put those things out. I did change out my curtain for the fall. I just did a little bit on the table, one small thing on that table, and then I put this out as well. And then I did again very little in the bathroom too. I only put a couple things up there. Thank you for taking time out of your day to hang out with me. Hopefully you will like and subscribe, and I will see you very soon in the next video. Bye.